that, and so she started cheating on him, and but then they were going to meet at the restaurant to talk, because he'd threatened to take her daughter away from her. And so while you're supposed to be frantic over the fact that your husband just got blown away in front of you, this is what you go into? Really? Why are you telling me this? Like, what does that have to do with this? So then the cops were like, okay, well, if you weren't with him before this and he was coming, y'all are meeting up at this restaurant, so then let me just ask you a question. Where were you before you came in your car? Like, where are you coming from? And she
Mm-hmm.
said she was at a friend's house. And they were like, okay, we could dig it, we could dig it. Can you give us this friend's name? And she was like, yeah, his name is Michael Garza. And then everybody was like, did you just say you were at a guy's house? She was like, yeah. And so they were like, okay, well, this Michael guy, so you said y'all were having problems and everything in your marriage, and your husband didn't like you and everything like that. So this Michael guy that you were at his house at, like, 10 o'clock at night while you're married and have a toddler at home, by any chance, are you like dating him? So then she confessed that, yeah, she was like, yeah, I was having an affair with him. And like, actually, right before this, I just had sex with him. Actually,
Naughty, naughty.
I was just coming from, him dipping and everything. So, you know, um, so she told the cops that they had met on Facebook, and they actually started an affair that summer. Which is, wow, you have a kid, you have a toddler. This isn't even a kid that could take care of itself yet. You have a toddler and you're meeting dudes on Facebook and having affairs with them. Like,
Mommy
good
of the
Lord.
Year award. Oh my gosh.
Dude,
Crazy.
seriously, like,
Hmm.
my gosh, shouldn't your priority be your kid? Teach the kid to read. Take the kid to the park.
Hmm.
Good Lord, you don't know what kind of people you would meet online. That could have been a murderer, it could have been a pedophile that likes young kids, and you're just like, yeah, sure, come meet me. Let's start an affair. Ugh.
Well, I don't think she took
Any,
her kids to the
you don't know
meeting
what
or
she did. You don't
introduction.
know what she
Well,
did.
that's true. We don't know. We don't
If she
know.
would murder her husband or have somebody murder her husband or whatever about the murdering of her husband, you don't think that she would take her kid around some random dude?
Well, I'm thinking she's probably not going to say, "Hey, I've got to get a babysitter so I can go meet this random guy," from social media.
Yeah,
So
well.
probably she took
So
him with him. Yeah, with her.
so
Hmm.
after she told the cops all of that, um, and they read her Miranda rights, they were like, "Well, come with us, ma'am," and they put her in a cop car and took her to the station. While at the station, they asked her more questions. So they asked her stuff like, why why did the shooter let you go? Like, why didn't he shoot you? They asked her, like, why do you think this guy didn't take anything? And also the main question, how did you not see this dude's face? If he was like right there to shoot your husband point blank in his head, how did you not see his face? You know what I'm saying? So they
That's
kept,
crazy.
like, yeah, they kept asking her questions like this, and they questioned her for like hours and hours and hours. And if you they do this on purpose. They do this basically to see if your story is going to change, to mentally break you down, like a bunch of stuff. And a lot of times it works, and a lot of times it works in terms of they get what they want to hear. Not saying that everybody they use this tactic on is guilty. It's just, after a while your mind starts cracking and you start thinking like, did I really blah blah blah? And you know or you're
Yeah,
like, well, I'm innocent.
but then you start changing your story too. It's hard to
Yeah, or
pick a
you're like
story and stick to
innocent, and
it.
you're just like, if I
Yeah.
say this, then they won't take that to mean anything, because this is the truth and it has nothing to do. I didn't kill this person. But then the cops are like, aha, you just confessed. You know what I'm saying? So either way, it's a good bad tactic. So in this instance, obviously, it turned out to be a good tactic, because I guess she just mentally broke down and she was like, I can't take this anymore. She ended up confessing, and she was like, you know what I said before, I kind of lied. I did know who the shooter was. I saw his face, and it was Michael Garza. So, but she said, but it was him. I saw him come out of the shadows and everything. But I'm telling you right now, seriously, I had no parts in this. I'm not the one who said do this. I don't know why he was there. He was just there. Maybe he was following me. Maybe he was stalking me. I don't know how he ended up down this dark road that I was at, and he just knew exactly where I was. But like, he came out of the shadows and shot my husband. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So then she started trying to like say that, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but Michael's on steroids, and he has a bad temper, and then mix that together with steroids, and you could just see like, he's really like aggressive, and so I don't know, maybe he was like jealous that I was married. I don't know. Maybe he just followed me in another car. I know y'all didn't see any other tire prints there, but I don't know. Maybe he brushed away the tire prints as he was driving away. Like, I'm just ad libbing here. This isn't what she said, but
Right.
like, you know, um, so she's saying all of that, but then, later on the cops are investigating all this stuff, and that's a lie. Nobody ever said he had a bad temper. Nobody said this Michael guy was, aggressive, and there was no trace of him having taken steroids. So that was a lie. So now she said that she told Michael about the problems in her marriage, and he was such a super gentleman that he said, well, you know what, well, this dude is, he hates you or whatever. He's not even in love with you. He loved his ex-wife. He's putting hands on you and stuff. Like, I can't believe a man would do that. So what I'm gonna do for you is i'm gonna like I'm gonna scare him. I'm just gonna scare him and rough him up a bit and let him know that he can't do this to you. You're a precious gem, and he just can't treat you any kind of way. And if he doesn't treat you right, then I'm gonna take over. Again, ad libbing. He didn't say that,
Right.
but
Right.
he did say he would scare him. So she said when she saw him that night, she saw him come up to the Jeep, and then so she thought this was the time he was going to scare Robert. But then when she saw him pull out a gun, she says she screamed stop. But even though she said stop, he shot Robert anyway.
Wow.
So police were like, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to put you under arrest, lady. And the charge is going to be conspiracy to commit murder. So they arrested her. And so they arrested her. Actually, the next day she was arrested. And then a SWAT team raided Michael's house. But when they went in there, he wasn't there. But then the next day, he ended up turning himself into the cops, because what are you going to do? Run for the rest of your life? You're going to be wanted everywhere. And if you're an American citizen, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go that the cops can't get you? Because you're going to have to, like, basically get citizenship at this other place. So, um, yeah. So he basically turned himself in. He was charged with murder. So after he turned himself in, they arrested him and charged him with murder. And then later on, I don't know if it was that same day that he turned himself in, but a little bit later, a farmer actually found a shotgun that was in a field less than a mile away from the murder. So they found a murder weapon. So the farmer was like, hey, cops, I don't know, I'm not touching this thing, but there's a shotgun here. You may want to come check this out. So, they went and got the
Well, where was
shotgun.
it
Turned out
found
it
in
was
a cornfield? I
in just
mean,
a
what?
remote field. It
I'm,
was just out there. It was like close. Because remember, she was in a remote area. So it was probably farms around her and a dirt road. So less than a mile from
okay.
where Robert was shot, they found a shotgun. A farmer found a shotgun.
So
So
my
then,
point, I guess my point is, why, if you have so many open areas, cornfields and just open fields and
would you
cows and
just leave the shotgun there?
no, my point is you can go further and deeper, and you can be more creative about where to throw that murder weapon. I mean, they just found it so easily, only less than a mile away. That's
Dude, we're
crazy.
talking if if this is what happened. So this is just allegedly, and I'm ad-libbing once again. We're talking about a guy who met some girl off the internet and had an affair with her, and then was like, "Yeah, I'll kill your husband for you." Like, you expect him to be a mastermind?
Well, you know what?
Is
That's why he'll just go on the America's Dumbest Criminals Hall of Fame. Just add him right into the rest of them. Yeah, we've got plenty of those right now from from doing our show. We meet so many of the America's Dumbest Criminals, but I don't know. I guess it's not. I mean, you can premeditate until you just overlook so many things. You know, it's not like you
mm,
do it every day. So I mean, but
yeah.
that's how murderers get caught. It's just so pathetic.
Well,
Like you
he
didn't
was an
think of
idiot.
that.
They didn't think it through. I mean, look at her story. She didn't think it through. Some dude, she was stuck on the road in a town that she knows that she wouldn't have gotten lost. She was going to a place that I'm pretty sure she's gone to many times. She gets lost in a dark mud dirt road, but she keeps going. Her Jeep gets stuck. He comes out, and suddenly out of nowhere, just some random dude shot him and then ran away. Like, she didn't even think her story through. They didn't prepare.
Of course not.
They were
You're right.
both
They didn't know each
idiots.
other to even be able to collaborate and think, hey, let's talk about this. Oh my
They were
gosh,
both
crazy.
idiots. So anyway, so when they found the gun, cops went and retrieved it and everything, and then they ran the serial number, and then they found that the gun actually belonged to Michael's brother. So that was kind of a nail in the coffin. So in July of 2018, that's when the trial for Michael Garza started. So they tried him first before they tried Chacey. So what he says, his testimony is that he gave Chacey the gun and she was the one who shot her husband. He said, I wasn't even there. Like, I don't even know why she's saying it was me. I wasn't even there. I was actually on my family's farm and I was dealing with a sick animal. Like, the pig was sick, and I had to nurse him back to health. So I wasn't even there. She asked for a gun. I was like, yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Shoot rabbits? What are you gonna do with my gun? I don't understand. Do you have to get deer? Is it hunting season? Like, I didn't ask too many questions. I just figured, she wanted my gun, so I just gave it to her.
Yeah, I didn't ask any questions. Here
Yeah,
you
I didn't
go.
ask questions. What could you possibly use the gun for? I shoot squirrels sometimes, so I figured that's what she wanted to do. Maybe give her daughter a taste of her first squirrel, a taste of her first opossum. I don't know, you know. So I was just
What are
like,
we
here's the
making?
gun.
Squirrel stew?
Right. So he was like, I don't know. She's the one who had the gun, and I was dealing with a sick goat. I don't know. So he said, so all in all, Your Honor, basically what I want to say is not guilty. So he pleaded not guilty, and then the jury went and deliberated, and they were like, let's just sit in here for a little while and pretend we're deliberating, but we all know this motherfucker's guilty, right? Right? Everybody. Okay, let's order some hamburgers. We want a round of hamburgers over here, please. Yeah, let's just pretend we'll get some time off of work or whatever. But when they came back, of course, they were like, yeah, we the jury of these United States or whatever they say. I don't know. We the jury find
Find the defendant
Michael
guilty.
Garza, the defender, guilty of murder. And then the judge was like, "Huh? You found him guilty? So do I. What are we going to sentence him?
Throw him in
He
the
got
cornfield.
sentenced to. He got sentenced to 99 years in prison. So
Hmm.
that's what he got for his not guilty plea. So 99 years in prison. So he's basically still in jail.
Well, if he
So
said guilty, it would still be. What's the difference? Who's going to live 99 plus 30? He's probably at least 30 years old, so 25. Yeah. So either way, he was toasted and roasted.
he'll be all right. Or you shouldn't have given even if you didn't shoot him, you shouldn't have given her your gun. Moron.
Right. That's what always does it, though. It's that murder, smoking gun, as they say.
Yeah, why
Smoking
would you
gun.
give her your gun? It's
Mhm.
some woman you just met. Even if it's a dude, some person you just met. Why would you give somebody your gun or your brother's gun? Now you're putting your brother in danger because you loaned out his gun. Like, whatever. So in